How, as a leader, do you manage a challenging situation? And when I was a brand new leader, I was terrible at this. I did not do well. I didn't know how to deal with people when they weren't performing at their highest level, and I was unsure about what to do. So I did one of two things. The first approach I took was not to do anything at all, because I didn't know how to discipline or even have that conversation. I was fearful of them not liking me. I was fearful of them getting mad at me. I was fearful of me handling it badly. I was fearful of me saying the wrong thing. I was fearful of it all. So instead of dealing with it, I wouldn't deal with it, which meant that people learned that they could misbehave and I wouldn't do anything, which meant that their behavior only got worse. That doesn't build a strong team, particularly if I'm the leader of that team. I'm not leading. And nobody else feels safe because they see that the behavior that's not acceptable is being tolerated. Nobody wants to be part of a team like that. The next thing I tried was I became a complete bitch. And I'm bad at it. So I told them it was my way or the highway. I felt as though in order for me to make my point, I needed to bring anger into the conversation, and I handled it absolutely terribly, spoke to them inappropriately, and people laughed, because of course they would. So I had no idea which to do in any situation going forward until I learned the biggest leadership tool that I've ever learned, and that's that people are motivated to do what they want to do. So let them. What I mean by that is to just use the truth on your side when you're dealing with any scenario, including having to work on improving behavior. The exact specific example we're going to use is someone's continuously late. When it's the right time, this is the conversation. And the conversation is going to be completely pleasant because there's no need to bring anger into a conversation in order to make the conversation a very frank conversation. So we had discussed previously that you were required to be here by X time. That has consistently not happened. We've got two options moving forward from here. Scenario number one, you're going to deliver and be here on time as you promised from the very beginning of our relationship for the rest of our relationship. But there will never be another day between now and the next minimum 6 months where you're coming in late. Scenario number two is if you choose to do anything else besides scenario number one. And if that happens, then I'm going to have to make the decision that whatever the result is, we can't work together anymore. I'm going to have to bump your contract down. I'm going to terminate you. Whatever the result is, that is the truth of what you're going to be forced to do if they can't get their butt in on time. So never make up this discussion. Deal with the truth, but give them the decision to make on their own. So here's scenario number one, here's scenario number two. I leave it completely in your hands. You tell me what to do based upon what you choose to do, and I will then choose to do what I need to do in response to what you decide to do. Does that make sense? Okay. Is it clear? Okay. Is it unfair? Okay. So you can deal with a scenario and put a really hard line on the behavior, and when they choose which to do, they know what your resulting actions are going to be. The key for you is that you have to deliver based upon whatever these resulting actions are. If they are on time consistently, then you can never bring up their lateness previously, ever. Again, it's not allowed. If they are late, then you've got to deliver the result that you said that you were going to deliver. Otherwise, the entire rest of the team and you are not going to have confidence in your ability to lead this team because you're not leading from a place of truth and you're not executing on the things that you say that you would execute on. So that is the biggest leadership tool that I've ever learned, and I still use it today. People are motivated to do what they want to do, so let them. The next leadership tool that is one of the most important leadership tools as well is that people will fight to be right. How that has an implication into a team is that in order for your team to be equally engaged in fighting to win and succeed, is involve them in the process when you're creating the plan. Bring them into the process of determining how to be able to move forward. Listen to each other. Put down on paper all of the ideas that come up, and then actually insert some of these ideas. I see some companies that I, consult with that will sit down and they'll do this activity, but then they'll never use any of the ideas. They stay in the parking lot permanently. This is a process where we're actively engaging people to get beyond the point of this conversation, to insert some of their solutions and determine what is viable to be able to craft a plan that truly was created by this entire team all on its own. Now, obviously, there's certain components that if there's a decision that's going to be detrimental, then you don't do it for the sake of doing it. None of this is for the sake of doing it. But when you've had everybody who needs to vet the solution, and determine that the solution is a sound one to move forward, for any individual person who had a component of crafting that solution, they are going to fight to be right. Which means that you're going to have a team that shows up more unified in order to be able to chase a solution and chase a result and to prove that they were right over any other team that's showing up to work today anywhere on the planet. And that's the truth. It is not difficult to be able to engage a team, to have the team have confidence in each other and the plan, more than by involving them in the creation process, the vetting process, and then having the ability to execute and have trust from you to do so that they can prove that they were right. Those two leadership tools and truths are the two most powerful leadership tools and truths that I've learned in over 25 years of working with thousands of people all over North America.